24, France 24's own Cole Strangler joins us on this set. Morning to you, Cole.
Well,
let's look at the major issue in these talks, fishing rights. What progress has been made? What remains?
so before I get into that, just to give a quick overview of some of the issues underlying this fishing debate. Not really a huge sector from an economic perspective, but politically very sensitive, as we were just hearing. Under the status quo right now, EU countries share access to each other's waters for fishing. And from the British perspective, post-Brexit, there's this idea of taking back control, so extending British sovereignty over its waters. And from the EU's perspective, there's the idea that if the UK wants continued access to the EU single market, it's going to have to make some concessions. We've really seen bargaining on this issue back and forth. The British side essentially has been pushing for a deeper reduction in EU access over a short-term period. The EU, conversely, has been pushing for a smaller reduction, as we're seeing here, over a longer-term period. Again, we don't have an agreement yet, but apparently progress being made on this issue. The French sources said there's been, quote, huge concessions on the UK side. This is according to The Guardian. The Guardian saying there would be a 25% reduction in the catch that EU ships currently get from British waters, extended over a 5.5-year transition period. Those numbers, those two numbers, 25% and 5.5 years, are closer to what the EU has been pushing for, as opposed to the British side. But again, important to emphasize that's not set in stone. We're going to have to see how this plays out here in the coming hours.
Another one of the major obstacles we've seen this whole 10 months now in debating was fair competition rules. Where does that stand?
So there is, again, on this issue as well, progress that apparently is being made. Just again, to give a quick recap of this issue, the EU has been willing to offer access to the single market to the UK. So again, a trade deal without tariffs or quotas, but it's also worried about a scenario in which the UK has access to the single market, but also has a competitive advantage over EU member states. So a scenario in which the UK is rolling back regulations on labor, environment, lowering taxes. And so that's why we've heard this insistence from the EU side on having a quote-unquote level playing field. Right now, there appears to be an agreement that's being put into place that would ensure just that, according to the EU, essentially having both sides, the EU and the UK, agree to having a sort of a third-party panel in place to resolve disputes from both countries, and also authorizing either side to potentially take retaliatory measures if that agreement isn't respected.
And we know British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is expected to hold a press conference momentarily, so we're anticipating a deal. If there is a deal, what comes next?
So British Parliament currently on a Christmas break, but would almost certainly come back before then and vote on a deal before January 1st, before December 30th, potentially. Now, there is a large Conservative majority in the House of Commons, so appears to be like the Conservatives would almost certainly get a deal approved, despite having some potential pushback from the hardcore Brexiteers, the European Research Group. That's on the British side, so before January 1st. A little bit trickier on the European side, because EU Parliament has already said that it's not going to come back and vote before January 1st on a potential deal. So what you would have instead potentially is EU member states agreeing to a provisional agreement, a provisional deal, and then having Parliament come back after January 1st and then ratifying the deal after January 1st.
And between now and then, that creates something of uncertainty. How would things operate between the UK and the continent?
Well, it's important to stress that the key cutoff date here is January 1st, no matter what. That's when the extension of the status quo rules expires on January 1st. We're going to have big changes after that, no matter what happens. If the EU agrees to a provisional deal, which is the direction that we're heading towards, we could see certain aspects take effect on January 1st. We could see certain aspects take effect later. Again, this all depends on what the actual agreement is that we haven't seen yet, if there is an agreement. So we have to really wait and see. I think the important thing to emphasize, again, is that we're going to have big changes on January 1st. That's the key cutoff date in which these current status quo rules expire.
All right. Thank you very much, Cole. Cole Strangler reporting on this Brexit uncertainty.